Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know. It's one of my panics that people aren't going to be able to hear me. Oh, I should probably close that door, and there's my lunch. Let's keep it real, though. This is what my place looks like right now. If you can see me and you can hear me, just leave me a note in the comments. Hola. Okay. Amy, can you hear me and see me? Let me know. Hello, Deborah. Oh, Darlene, hello from Texas. Shane and Tanya, thank you so much for coming. Oh, awesome. Is that Johnny? Johnny Kuhn, yes to both. Awesome. Oh, Marie, we're on. Yvonne, okay, yes, we can see you, but Yvonne, can you hear me? So I am in a different place in my apartment right now. Kristen and Mark, thank you so much. Oh, hola from Niagara. I'm hoping to get there this June. Guys, my place is really busy right now. Oh, Carmi Brogan, hello from Nova Scotia. Guys, this is my mom, like the biggest supporter in the world. Larry, hello from California. So awesome to see you. And Maria, fantastic. Guys, you'll see behind me, I have a huge mess and a huge mess over here. And that's because today is actually my last full day in Cuenca. So I am actually packing. I know, shut my side table drawer. Just one second. My mom just told me to do that. There we go. Maybe it looks a little bit better. What do you think, Mom? Oh, thank you so much, guys. One of the things that I realized, I think this week or maybe late last week, was that I'm getting a lot of repeat viewers. So I can see people are coming back, they're liking the videos. However, 74% of people who are viewing my videos, in fact, my last video, aren't actually subscribers. So if you are a subscriber, awesome. For some reason, if you haven't hit subscribe, it would be really, really helpful for you to do that right now. So, okay, guys, you guys were so active before I even started. I started looking at signing on and I saw all of this chat. Pedro, I know you have a lot of questions, so I want to help you here. And then Kristen and Mark always ask for like the most interesting questions. And I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my God, do I have an answer for that? So, Pedro, let me address some of your questions first. So yes, a lot of times I do use a VPN. Before the pandemic, I was actually based in Havana, Cuba for 2 years. So a VPN was like necessary because almost all of the American websites were blocked to me. I think I'm gonna switch to Surfshark because I watch YouTube videos and everybody talks about how good it is. I'm using another one, but I think I'm going to switch to Surfshark this week. So let me give it a shot. One of the things that really appeals to me about Surfshark is that you can use multiple devices, which is really good for me. So I'm going to try it out and I will let you know. But in general, I think VPNs, I've used a lot of different ones and they've all been pretty good. But what really does appeal to me to Surfshark is with the others, you usually get 2 devices, which isn't always great. I need unlimited. Who knows how many devices I'm going to have? So, also, other than visiting your website, subscribing, liking, commenting, I love how you are like on top of the YouTube lingo. How else can we support you? You know what? Subscribers right now is great. Subscribing, liking, commenting is great. I am thinking about how do I provide value to people with something. A lot of people run Patreon programs, but I don't feel comfortable with just saying like, hey, pay me to exist. So I have thought a lot about writing guides for the different towns that I have because my focus is on food, but a lot of people have a million other questions. And so I don't know if they belong in videos, but I have thought that maybe I could create something where if you're interested in a city, I also have resources for all the other things that people have questions about. That feels more comfortable for me. I do run a website, that's my full time job, and YouTube has become my full time job. So I have 2 full-time jobs and I have an editor that edits all my videos, thankfully. He's amazing. But right now I'm operating YouTube as at a loss. So it would be great to find a way to provide value for people where you feel like you're actually getting something for contributing. So we'll see. Oh, more from Pedro. So I mentioned Vilcabamba house break-ins. Would I be comfortable renting a freestanding house alone in Cuenca for 6 months? Or a complex tower setup? Yes. So Cuenca is definitely safer than Vilcabamba. It has its own issues, but I would say one of the reasons I love Cuenca is that I feel very comfortable here. I feel very comfortable with safety here. Of course, you need to be aware. And you need to be smart. But in general, I do feel very safe. In Canada, I lived in Toronto, so I would say I feel safer in Cuenca than I do in Toronto. Green space seems to be tough in El Centro. What are my thoughts on training a 20-pound dog? I don't know. You should talk to my mom. She's like the dog whisperer. So this place where I am right now, I have a video coming out in the next couple weeks about the neighborhood that I stay in Cuenca, but I'm right next to Parque de la Madre, and Cuenca is actually quite green, and I think it's quite dog friendly. But it's funny because I talked to Andreas about this the other day. I'm like, what do people with dogs do? He loves dogs, but he doesn't have one because he doesn't feel like it's like a dog neighborhood. So you got to walk your dog a lot. I don't know if I could train them. So those are my thoughts on dogs. I don't know. I'll think about it a little bit more for you. And then, so you asked me if Andres' family has an Airbnb offered non-shared router with a direct connect Ethernet plug. So his family has 4 different houses. One of the houses only has 4 rooms, and a lot of people rent the whole thing. And so if you were looking to do something long-term, that could be a really good option for you. At one point, I was not in this suite, and I was actually in that house, and I was the only person there. And so you would not share that internet, and it has lots of space. And the nice thing actually is it has like a rooftop kind of patio thing. If you want, we can chat separately about that. Do I travel with a backup PC? No, but I do have, I put everything on Google Drive, and I have tons of these. So I am terrified of something happening to my laptop. So I do take care of my data. And I do update often. All right, Happy Chicken. I'm not sure, G, if you're here, but yes, we're taping this, so you can come back to this video at any time. And then Johnny, I'm really interested in answering some of these questions because I thought I can actually help you with these. So how safe are long distance buses? So on this trip, I have been traveling with Andreas, and that was really because of the pandemic, and I wasn't sure. There were so many unknowns if I would feel comfortable on a bus, and not for safety reasons, but just because I don't want to be on a bus for 8 hours with a mask on. And so we've been traveling around together, but I've been to Ecuador, I think 5 times. I started coming in 2010. I've been on many times. My mom and sister came with me. So don't take night buses. Those are dangerous. Because I would say people probably who come to Ecuador will be surprised by the quality of the roads. They have really improved over the years, but there are bus accidents, and usually they are at night. So I would take day buses, short distances, because there has been some reports coming out lately that some people have been falling asleep. So I think short distances are better. I am not afraid of taking a bus. So in normal times, I would. And actually now, as Ecuador kind of comes out of this phase of Omicron, I would totally feel okay taking a bus. Although, like if somebody will drive you like Andreas will, of course, I want to do that. Okay. Just want to keep going through these questions because, Johnny, you had a couple of others that I thought were good. So So you're coming into Ecuador in May. You're checking out Manta and Cuenca. Where would I suggest flying into? So I would say if this is your first visit, you have to fly into Quito, obviously, or you could fly into Guayaquil too. I would do Manta first. So Cuenca, some people do have some issues with the altitude, even for me, because in Nova Scotia, we live on basically on the ocean. Like we live in a tiny province that's at sea level. And so when I came here in September, I did kind of take it easy for a week here. So I didn't really do anything. I just kind of walked around town and did some things. You do need to drink twice as much water as you normally would. Um, but the altitude didn't bother me. I see a lot of people talking about how the altitude is such a big issue, but I just think if you kind of take it easy, ease your way in, especially because it can be a long flight, you'll be okay. And so you said you suffered from altitude sickness in Mexico City. I actually just watched some YouTubers who I think are having that same issue. So I would say start in Manta, feel good about things, and then come to Cuenca. And your first couple days to a week, I would just say take it easy. Now Cuenca doesn't bother me at all. So it's just one of those things you have to get used to. Nellie asks, what is my favorite drink from Ecuador? So I do have a video coming out soon I just worked on a couple of videos from the next few weeks. I love Canelazo. It's from the Andes. It is aguardiente, which is sugarcane alcohol. It's with naranjilla, which is, I don't even think there's a name for that fruit in English. Cinnamon. It's like a warm kind of punch, and it's very typical to the Andes, and I love it. However, I do have a video coming out about my 5 favorite drinks in Cuenca using traditional ingredients. And I discovered some really cool places, so I'm very excited about that video coming out. Johnny, you're vegan. Also, this is why I was so excited. So in Manta, I can't really help you here because I haven't been to Manta yet. I went to the beach. But I would say in general, in Cuenca, you won't have any problem. I just finished up, actually, that's the last part of the video. I finished up a video about vegetarian restaurants in Cuenca. I looked at Happy Cow, and I think there might be 29 restaurants that are on Happy Cow, and maybe 12 of them that are, they call them vegetarian restaurants, but actually, I would say in Ecuador, especially in Cuenca, people understand what vegan is. They understand what gluten-free is. Cuenca is very easy to travel if you're vegan. In fact, one of the restaurants that I went to that will be on this video in 2 weeks, it says it's vegetarian, but all the food is vegan. So I don't know if they said this to make it feel more approachable, but Cuenca has had a history of having meat-free food. And so in this video of 5 restaurants, some of them are traditional and some of them are, one of them is Taiwanese. Another one is right across the street from Casa Cuencana. He's from Venezuela. Just really lovely people, and everybody gets it. So do not worry about that. And then also there are a lot of traditional Ecuadorian foods that are vegetarian and vegan. But I feel like people get it. Even ceviche, there are vegan versions of ceviche. Just one second. I'm just going to show you a can. Sorry, this can right here, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to do a video about it eventually. But this is actually vegan ceviche. And I've had vegan ceviche at different places, but this I got at the supermarket. So this is kind of how mainstream vegan vegetarian food is. So do not worry, you will be okay. Kristen and Mark. Oh, hello from Maldonado. The weather is finally great here. I'm very excited about that. If I wasn't able to come to Ecuador, what country? I also love Vietnam. So what country would I want to travel to? I love Vietnam. I was robbed there my first day of being there, but I still love it. I love all of Latin America. Like I love Mexico. I love Colombia, Peru. In Asia, I would say in the Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand mix. I also like Vietnam the best. I like places that in the north, especially in the north. I like places that are not too touristy, even though they're more difficult to travel. And so I found northern Vietnam. I loved it. And then one last one from Johnny. Do I see myself getting residency in Ecuador and making it my home? I don't know. So I am starting to think about, because I'm on a tourist visa extension and thinking about what do I do. Because of my job, because of my website, I do need to travel a lot. And so to have residency where traveling, temporary residency and visas in general in Ecuador are a little bit complicated. And so to get a temporary residency and not be able to leave Ecuador doesn't really work for me. But perhaps I might just continue to get temporary residency and never get permanent residency. I don't know. I'm kind of a commitment phobe. So I have a lot going on in my life, but temporary residency could be a possibility for me. I'm absolutely considering it. I would like to use Ecuador as a base for sure. All right, let's catch up to everybody else. Oh, Joseph is here. Guys, if you have not seen Capture Joseph, he also has a YouTube channel here. Great guy doing interesting things. We met finally in person 2 or 3 days ago, and he is great. I love Cuenca. I want to visit in September. That's a good time to go. The coldest time in Cuenca is July. So JF, Ola from NYC. Oh, Kristen and Mark, Surfshark is a hit and miss. That is good to know. Really good to know. Wow. Joseph wants to know, when you leave Cuenca, which food spot will you miss the most? I'll miss all the pork. So I have a website. It's called Bacon is Magic. I also love vegetarian food. I love vegetables, but I do have a love for pork. And Wallaceo, which is just outside of Cuenca, I think should be a UNESCO heritage site for food. It has some really beautiful traditions there, and people there really care about food. And so it's always good. Amy, I'm subscribed or hoping to visit Ecuador next year. Also happy to support a fellow Canadian's channel. Thank you so much. You know, there is actually, Amy, I don't know if you know this, but there is a Facebook group called Canadian Expats in Ecuador, or Canadians for Ecuador. I really love it. I think people there are really nice. And I know that's a stereotype, but of all of the groups that I belong to about Ecuador, I feel like people there are the nicest. I would buy a guide. There's a need for someone like, oh, thank you, like Rick Steves to do South and Central America. Maybe this is a gap you could look at filling. Yeah, I thought about, if I do a Patreon, it might be something like when I go to a city or start to do things, I start to share my favorite places, but then also start to answer like common questions people have. I get a lot of questions that like where to stay, what neighborhoods, how to get there, like those kinds of things that I feel like would be better suited, even if it were in PDFs that I share with people so I could do it quickly. Because there are a lot of things that I do that I don't share on the video. Right now, videos are averaging 20 to 30 minutes. So I can't share everything I do, but I have started to think about that. And because I do have my website, I'm so used to writing about those things. Yeah, so that could be an option. Happy Chicken, how safe is renting an Uber or renting a car? I have taken Uber in Quito, no problem at all. I've never been ripped off. I've only had positive experiences. Renting a car, driving here is different. Actually, Capture Joseph has a really great video on driving and drivers in Ecuador. So I would say if you've spent a lot of time in Latin America, then you kind of know what it's like. However, in Ecuador, where I feel like people are very civilized, when they get into a car, they are not. And then also, the double yellows, which mean don't pass, that does not exist here. Everybody is like, they're always passing. And so I think that causes a lot of the accidents here. So I would say rent a car after you've experienced this to decide if you're comfortable with this driving standard. I would not do it. Also, I think almost if you can't drive a standard, you probably can't drive here. I've never seen anyone drive an automatic. So Kristen and Mark recently took a bus. They are quite scary depending on the driver. We arrived safe, but there were moments. Yeah, absolutely. Like I would say, you know, I would say just take short trips. Definitely. You want to make sure that you have the best chance of your driver, not feeling like he has a long drive and has to make up for time and that he is well awake. Smiley Women One. How can an American woman buy jeans there? I'm a size 16 and bought a size 20, couldn't get them past my thighs. Don't bring your clothes. You got to bring your clothes. So I actually am, I think, quite typical I'm Irish Italian, third generation, yet somehow I blend in here. I have very similar body type, so much so that I actually took a DNA test to see if I was Latina. In fact, my mom and my sister came here, and that was one of the first things that they realized, that everybody was like their height and looked like them. But that DNA test told me that no, we are just boring Europeans. Um, I think in Cuenca, you could probably get more clothing. There is definitely an expat market here. And so a lot of people will bring things in, but this is one of the times where I would say just bring your own clothes. Deborah, best place to live in Cuenca? I don't know. I mean, I believe that you want to be as central as possible. So I really like living in Centro Historico. I walk everywhere. I think Captchajoso just shared a video about where he's planning to move. And then also Flynn's on the Fly have shared a place, and it looks pretty sweet. I saw their balcony or patio. They have a big patio area. So I would say live as close to Centro as you can. A lot of gringos like Gringolandia, which I think the official name is Puertas del Sol. I don't like that. That is like not for me. That's not to say it's not wrong, but I don't want to live with like in an expat community, even though there are Ecuadorians there, but where all of the like expat bars and restaurants are. I want to feel more integrated into Ecuador. So it really depends on what you want. A lot of people ask me the best, but what I want might be different from someone else. I also speak more Spanish. So if you only speak English, then maybe you do want to rent in Gringolandia. I would just say that if you only hang around people that speak English, you will never learn Spanish. So I think maybe it would be good to push yourself outside your comfort zone. So you have to practice your Spanish. And then if you want to do like the crib nights or the other trivia nights that gringos have, you could have kind of the best of both worlds. But I do feel like a lot, especially in Cuenca, a lot of people get so into the expat community that, I was at Supermaxi and I could see a guy in front of me had a Supermaxi card, and he could not, he didn't understand the cashier who asked him for his cedula or his like a national card. It's a very common question. And so I just think, learn some Spanish, get integrated in the community. That's why you're here. Javi, are you going to make it to Ambato? Yes, that is the plan. I really do want to go there. They are supposed to have this best chifa or the Chinese Ecuadorian food. They've also got some great bread. I'm probably not going to go to Banos for a while. So super touristy. Like if you want to, do zip lining and all that kind of stuff, you don't need me to do a video about that. So, but it is on the list. I love the produce market in Cuenca. I love Cuenca. Cuenca has such a dedication to traditional food. That's really what draws me to it. Oh, and Kristen and Mark, I love this. You can have stuff handmade. Yes, I didn't even think about that. Maria, you've traveled to India. We love Cuenca for many reasons. A small city with good international options. It's not Ecuadorian cuisine. Would you be willing to film an Indian almuerzo experience? Yes, absolutely, I would. I don't know if the restaurants here do almuerzo. They probably do. And you're a new subscriber. So I would say, Yes, I am absolutely open to it. I am open to international food options. Um, living in Cuba, what's your favorite between vaca frita y ropa vieja? I don't actually eat a lot of beef in Cuba. It's another country that's really great for pork, and the beef is like, even hamburgers are kind of gross. I don't eat beef in Cuba. So I couldn't even tell you between the two, only because I was in Havana. I wasn't on a resort. So I don't know if I ate real beef once. I had hamburgers and everything was just what I was. Shane and Tanya, what's your favorite beer? I feel like Shane is asking me this question because I gave Shane and Tanya a hard time when Shane said that women, uh, that beer, he kind of insinuated that beer was for the men. And I'm like, ladies drink beer. I prefer Pilsner over Club. Yeah. I drink beer, but I'm not saying I'm a beer connoisseur. I like Club is like a little, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. I prefer Pilsner. It's like a cleaner taste. Oh, my husband and I would both like to know how you to hear your name. My name is Angelina. The Y is silent. So it's not Angelina, it's Angelina. You can thank my mom for that. She put the Y in. And so now I get all my social media handles and everything. There's no competition. Maria, in a couple of your videos, you have different shades of purple on each nail. Do you do them yourself? I don't do them myself. I actually took off my nail polish. I get them done at various nail shops. I get gel done here in Cuenca. It's like $10 to get gel nails. I get my eyelashes done, and the most I've ever paid for my eyelashes is 40. And that lasts about a month. The nails last as long as I'm good about them. Um, yeah, it's just in Latin America, I find like beauty things are not expensive. Outside of renting versus buying, not trying to learn Spanish, change the culture, what are the 5 to 10 top easily avoidable errors that expat makes? Number one, don't buy right away. Number two, I'm just going to do three. Number two, visit a lot of places. Ecuador has a lot of places. So you got to go find your right place. I think a lot of people come here and they like, I'm going to move to Cuenca. I'm going to move to Manta. I'm going to move to Olón. You have to visit a lot of different places because I think people get really disappointed. If you've never been to Latin America, it's harder. There is a cultural difference. If you've never been to Ecuador, then you don't know the difference between Ecuador and other countries in Latin America. So I would just say, come here, open mind, travel around. Don't get stuck on one place. And then also learn Spanish, which I said to you, but really, you have to get into a very uncomfortable spot. So my Spanish, I learned in the street. I am not formally trained. And at some point, I just realized I have to be open to people correcting me, and I'm just going to speak. When I speak Spanish, I would say I'm intermediate level. It's not right, but everybody understands me, and that's all that matters. And then get really good friends who will correct you. And that's really how you learn Spanish. We've been to Ecuador. Maria, you have so many questions. We've been to Ecuador 5 times. We try everything and wash raw fruit. We're hesitant to try ají because it's often pooled. As the ají queen, how do you know it's safe? I just eat it all. I've never been sick here. Oh no, I think I was a little bit sick a couple of weeks ago, but I think I drank too much beer. How do you know what's safe? So I always go to places that are busy. If you go to places that are busy, the ají will turn over. And I think right now also people are a little bit more careful of it, but ají has a lot of acidity in it, so I don't really worry about it. To be honest, even in India, I was there for a month. The second day, I went on a street food tour of Old Delhi and I didn't get sick. So some of the things I do is I do eat yogurt almost every day. And if you run into me on the street, it's very likely that I have Pepto-Bismol on me. So if I'm even starting to feel like a little bit off, I'll just take some. But I think also very early on in my career on my website, I ate things and I got really sick. So now my stomach is just, I feel like I have a super stomach. And so now I'm probably going to get sick. Happy Chicken, gee, how easy is it to get rice and beans? So easy. It's so easy. Rice and beans is like, or rice and lentils is like the staple here. I eat, I could eat rice and beans every day. The rice not so much, but the beans I love. Oh, my necklace is my name in Arabic. So my name Angelina. So it's spelled phonetically. I got it in Jordan. Sonia, thank you so much for coming. Love your videos. I always love it when Ecuadorians watch my videos. I feel a lot of pride when they tell me that I'm doing a good job. I pick Sundays for Q&As because that's when everybody wanted to do one. So, Nelly, Nelly is also vegan. I do eat fish. I also eat Mediterranean food. You won't have any issue whatsoever, Nelly, in Ecuador. There's tons of, if you eat fish, you'll have no problem along the coast. And then in the Andes, lots of traditional food is vegetarian, vegan, but you do have to ask. But people know. So I would say Ecuadorians are very aware of this. If I had a chance, second and third choices after Cuenca, I like Loja. I mean, it's also in the Andes and it's not far away, but I really liked Loja. And then I have not found my place on the coast that I would live. So growing up in Nova Scotia, in like on the ocean, I do want to live in a coastal town. That would be great. However, I just haven't found a place in Ecuador that I feel like, yeah, I could live there. So I'm still looking. I'm still hoping to do a big coastal tour again this year. Okay, Maria, I got to skip some of your questions. I do appreciate all of them, though. If I don't at the end, ask them to me again, and we'll see. Canal Libre, thank you so much for getting here all the way from the Galapagos. And Kristen Mark, thank you. It's Canadian Expats for Ecuador. I really like it. I think it's a good channel full of nice people. Some of the other channels I really like, but God, like people can be really testy. Someone got mad at me for something I said about Quito in the Ecuador expats last night. I kind of stand by what I say. Like I can only share my own experiences, and I didn't mean to offend them, but and even apologize for it. But she still was not happy. Carnival is next week, so I haven't announced this yet, or let me tell you where I am with my video. So the video from Casagangatana yesterday, I actually shot in December, and that was the last of the videos that I shot in 2021, except for a series of videos I shot in the Galapagos. I did go with Metropolitan Touring on a 4-night tour of the Galapagos, and then I stayed at Finch Bay, I think, for 2 nights. Unfortunately, the Galapagos National Park has to approve those videos. Long story. So I'm going back to the Galapagos again Wednesday. I'm going Wednesday to Saturday night. And so right after that is Carnival. And so I've actually been thinking about that. I thought about going to Ambato, but then also I don't know how I'm going to feel about after the Galapagos tour. So I might go to Ambato Caesar, but I might also just stay in Quito and do some Quito videos there because I would really like to do a Quito's Wake Us video or like a traditional cheap eats video there. So I don't know yet. Tomorrow night, Andreas and I are meeting to kind of figure out our schedule for the next week. Kristen and Mark, Chile would be a great place to explore. I went to Chile in 2011 and I loved the Atacama Desert. I found Chileans hard to understand. And then I didn't get a good sense that there was a lot of traditional food. Whenever I asked people what the traditional food was, they were like sandwiches. Yvonne, I never drive while in Ecuador. Yeah, I would not drive. And sometimes even with Andreas, he's a very calm, reliable person, but I'm like, oh. Yeah, Flynn's on the Fly. I love their banter and their positive energy. I agree. I really encourage people to watch a lot of people's perspectives on Ecuador. So I can provide one, but I'm not an expat and I didn't move everything here. I actually don't have a home. When I'm in Canada, I live out of my childhood bedroom in my mom's place. Thanks, Mom. But I think Flynn's on the Fly are good. I also like Mr. Second Passport. I do think while he's very negative about some things, he does raise some important questions. Don Schrader, I think, is great. In Cuenca, again, Capture Joseph is great. Shane and Tanya in Alone on the Coast. I still haven't been there. JP and Amelia. There are so many really great people here. But also, I would say this. If you speak Spanish, I almost always watch Ecuadorians. So that's actually where I get a lot of my good tips. I love Ecuadorians. Oh my God, I got a top chat. Johnny, I've never gotten one of these before. Thank you so much. I didn't even know I had super chat enabled. I'm almost teary-eyed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay. Oh, Canal Libre wants to know the dish on my marital status. You were on my last video. So I'm not married. I don't have a boyfriend and I don't want to have kids. So I am 44, I think. I think I'm turning 45. Mom, chime in on that. And I'm just loving my life. So Itchy Feet on the Cheap. I really loved also his videos. I'm sad that he's moved on to Cambodia. He is definitely offbeat, but I also just thought he was like, I really liked him. I really like quirky people. Jose, I will be traveling to Ecuador, Guayaquil on Tuesday. Going to Guayaquil and Salinas. What do you recommend? Guayaquil, if you're staying for a couple days, be careful. That's the most dangerous town in Ecuador. However, if you stay within you probably know this. I don't want to assume you're Ecuadorian, but if you stay within the tourist areas, you'll be fine. But also, I have a couple of videos. I had the best ceviche at Mercado Sauces Nueve. That area is not safe. Get like a cabin to the Mercado, have the ceviche there. And then also I had my best encebollado there at El Pez Volador. El Pez Volador, yeah. And Salinas, I went to Salinas on the Guayaquil Independence Day, and I didn't love it. So I do think I do need to go back. It feels a little bit like Little Miami to me. And to be honest, the Facebook group seems like a lot of, I don't know, people that don't really integrate with the local community. So I haven't gotten a good feeling from there, but I am willing to go back. I only spent tonight there, so I can't judge it. Shane and Tanya decided to rent first for 2 years before buying and building. So yeah, I think that's smart. And Shane and Tanya are in an awesome spot. I do think you need to, if you look at JP and Amelia, I think when they first moved here, they moved to Cuenca and then they lived in Alone and now they live in Manta. And I don't even know if they own there. And so I would just say it takes some time to figure out if a place long-term, which is very different than visiting, is what you want. And then also, you don't want to get ripped off, to be honest. There are a lot of people who make their business of new expats. And so things that if you're from Canada or the US work a certain way, they don't work that same way in Ecuador. And so I think, a year or two gives you some knowledge. You become a little bit smarter. You can save yourself a lot of money. Personally, I would never buy in Ecuador. Real estate doesn't appreciate in the way it does in Canada and the US. And just the prices are higher for foreigners. And then also, I want to be somewhere where if I rented a house and there was something wrong with the foundation or say the roof started leaking, I could just leave. I'm not on the hook for actually fixing that. So that's my personal opinion. Andreas does say that some people have rented or bought and they were very happy with it. But I also think like if I were retired and if I died, how does that all pan out? Does your family have to come down here? How does it all work? The people he knew that had bought didn't care about their family. So they came down here, they bought, and then they just said, whatever happens, happens. So, Kristen and Mark bought right away. Yeah, I mean, some people do. I think, it works out for some people, not for everybody. Matt Riopel. Hey, stranger. Oh my God, I can't believe you're online. Thank you so much. Bronx CB. We have a date April 21st. Yes, and Riobamba. Riobamba is still on my list. I want to try that ornado there. They say it's some of the best. I visited Ecuador back in November last year and visited a bunch of places because of your videos. Thank you for what you do. Oh my God, thank you so much. Jaylima, why is this the first time you're commenting on anything? Comment on my videos. I hate to be that thirsty kind of person, but really when people comment on my videos, it means everything to me. Oh, Maria, you won. Yeah, you're right. Henry is here, my super fan who hasn't seen all my videos and is going back to the beginning. And he loves Selena. So, I don't like to tell people what is right for people because I think the beauty of video is to show you what it looks like and then you can decide. But my experience is going to be different from other people, and there is no one right experience. The same thing for food. There are things that I like that other people don't like, and vice versa. There's no one right answer. If you like something I don't like, that doesn't mean it's bad food. Milo K. Oh, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Milo Kaya Productions. Oh, you just found my videos this morning. That's awesome. You're going to the Galapagos in June. Okay. Now adding a couple days in Quito or Cuenca, if only 2 days. Oh my God. What do you do in 2 days? I would just say maybe you just do Quito and then you go to Mindo. I love Mashpee. If you can afford Mashpee, it's absolutely worth it. I would just go to a travel agency to see if you can get a deal because they have awesome deals right now. And for the retirees or people who have a cedula here, also, I think it's 60 or 70% off. Mashpee was Galapagos level. It was amazing. But if you can't afford that, Mindo was also incredible. So maybe I would just, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe I would skip Quito, go to Mindo, and then go to Galapagos so you can get a sense of the rainforest and of the islands. Oh, see, Amelia and JP are renting. They're creating videos about selling, but they're renting. Pedro, if I return to ad company, would I blah, 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 blah. Okay. Pedro, you have a lot of complicated questions about not letting your company know that you are in Ecuador. I don't know. I think maybe with a VPN you could get away with it, but there's that's a big risk. Hamid, don't eat guinea pig if you don't want to get sick. I've eaten so much guinea pig. Haven't gotten sick. JF, do you recommend Metropolitan touring for Galapagos? So I've been with Exodus, which is in 2013, I went with Exodus. It was a 7-night tour on a sailboat. And then in November, I went with Metropolitan Touring, and it was 4 nights, similar islands. And then Tuesday, I'm going with Intrepid Travel. I should probably do a Galapagos video just to compare them. So I'm going to do Intrepid Travel, who I've traveled with actually in Cuba, and I can recommend them for that. Metropolitan Touring, I think, without having been on this Intrepid trip, I would say Metropolitan Touring was pretty fantastic. Like the food was amazing. They had Wi-Fi on the boat. Everything was very comfortable. The service was fantastic. I think we might have had 22 people on the boat, and it was a big boat. And so it was very professional, and I really loved it. I had my own room. When I went on the sailboat, I was like in a bunk bed. However, I did go for 7 nights. So if you're going to go to the Galapagos, I highly recommend going for as long as you possibly can, because the way the islands work, some of them are really far away, actually. And so in order to get there, like on the sailboat, we had to sail in the evenings, and then we would arrive in the morning. Now that was 2013. So with the advances of boats, you can probably get there faster now. But I saw some really cool stuff that I did not see on my Metropolitan trip. And so I would just say, if you can do 7 nights, and I think Metropolitan has 7-night tours, do it. How is the weather in Cuenca compared to Quito? Quito is warmer. Quito is sunnier. I don't know why, but it is sunnier than Cuenca, at least for the last 6 months that I have been here. But right now it's rainy season, so it's going to rain every day no matter what. Hamid, is it safe to live in Cuenca if you have an irregular heartbeat? I don't know. Can't advise on that. Henry will be in Ecuador in June. Henry, I'm going to be in Canada. I'm sorry I miss you. And Hamid thinks I look 34 for my age. Thank you. And thanks to my mom for good genetics. I think it's because I didn't have children, and that really ages you. Have I taken public transport? Yeah. So every time I've been here before, I always take public transport. I always traveled solo as a woman in Ecuador. I never had any problem. My sister, when we first got here, was robbed her first day in Quito. You got to be careful in Quito. So Johnny, I am planning to go to Mexico soon. I love Mexico. It's definitely a potential retirement schedule. Like, I've always said I would retire in Mexico just because it's close to Canada. I love it. So I'm hoping to do a tour of the Pueblo Mexicos maybe in May, but I don't plan things that far ahead. I've also been asked to go to India in April. So I'm just kind of keeping things up in the air. Oh, Matt's my biggest fan. I know you are. But I love the architecture you show. The cities are beautiful. So Cuenca is a gorgeous city. I would say the Andes are beautiful. Say what you will about the Spanish, but they did bring a lot of fantastic architecture to Ecuador. And I would say since probably the 70s, they've really made an effort to maintain that. I think they've gone through some interesting times, but when Quito was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site and then Cuenca, the city's changed quite a bit. And so I do think Quito is interesting because the historic center is still very focused on tourism, but in Cuenca, people live in the historic center. So it feels like it has more life rather than just being like a tourist area. Like when you go to Europe, there are a lot of the pretty buildings, it's just for tourists. But here in Cuenca, it's very much a livable historic area. Mary, yeah. Metropolitan owns Casa Gangatana, La Pinta, which is the ship that I was on, and Mashpee Lodge. They will create a package for you. So that is how I was able to go to Mashpee, Casa Gangatana, and La Pinta. I have known I don't know what Dominic's name is, but I've known one of the people in management since 2013 when I shot a video about the Galapagos. And so because right now they have lower occupancy rates, they did offer for me to go there when they had open spaces. And however, while I was there were people there from Canada and locally who had gotten really great deals. They have very good packages. So I know a lot of people were saying that these places are luxury and not affordable, but I would just say always keep an open mind. Right now there are really good deals. And so I think they got 70% off. There were two Canadians, they were in their 20s and they were by no means rich. And I think they did 2 nights at Casa Gangatana, 3 nights at Mashpee, and then they stayed at Finch Bay in the Galapagos. And it was pretty affordable. What do I think about Manta? Do I like it? I've only spent an hour in Manta. So I was driving through. The highway smells terrible. And I know everybody says it. I love tuna, but the highway's disgusting. I did go to the beach. I can't remember the name, one of the main beaches, and it looks great. I do want to go back. I want to explore Manta because so many people go there. So I'm not against it. I have an open mind about it. Intrepid is great for a low-key tour company. So I lived in Cuba for 2 years, and I took actually a Cuba 10-day trip with them to see how they would present the country. And I have to say it was fantastic. Cuba is a very complicated place, and the local guide was not discouraged from being honest. But I felt like it was very balanced and fair. So I am a fan of Intrepid, and I'm really looking forward to this flight or this cruise. Henry needs to eat cuy. We keep talking about it. He's not really Ecuadorian. Andreas, hello, I'm Ecuadorian. It's great to hear a foreigner describing Ecuador. Thank you. Ecuador is one of my favorite countries. And honestly, I just really have so much heart for when Ecuadorians tell me that whether they're living here or abroad, that they like my videos because I really want to describe the essence of Ecuador and also to inspire tourists and expats to explore a little bit more, to get into the markets, to not be afraid of things. I think Ecuadorian food is not weird. I mean, I did eat the snails and I'm going to eat some weird things in the Amazon, but for the most part, it's pretty normal food. But also, it has so much history behind it that I don't know. I think every time you go to and you discover these things, Ecuador really embraces its tradition in the highlands. And I love that. And then along the coast, I mean, I'm from the coast, so I love seafood. Hamid, I did eat a guinea pig. I've eaten many guinea pigs. I've got lots of videos about it. I, if you eat any other kind of animal, like I eat rabbit, so why wouldn't I eat guinea pig? Marie has a question. I'm also childless, over 40 female. Do you go to statements for why didn't you have kids? What seems to work? Oh, yeah. So in Latin America, people want to know where my husband is and where my kids are. Sometimes I joke around and I tell them I left them both at home and I've been gone for 2 years. But culture is changing. And so culture, I've even noticed in the last 10 years in Latin America that to say you don't want children is much more accepted than it used to be. Yeah. Usually if they find out I don't have them, they want to know how I want them, if they can be that person. But that's not the case. Larry, what about tipping? Also tipping in the Galapagos. So I'm not sure where you're going with what tour company, but they will tell you what the tipping procedure is with the Galapagos. I would expect to tip, depending on how long it is, between like 135 to like 175 for tipping. In Ecuador, I would say in general, tipping is 10%. They do have a tipping culture now. Ecuadorians do tip. So it's not just for tourists. Just make sure big restaurants will have tipping included in the bill. Small restaurants try to put it, so legally, this is like the legal rules. Big restaurants, I don't know how many seats it has to have, but it's pretty big. Small restaurants try to put it in the bill anyway, and maybe you won't notice. This did happen to me along the coast. That's illegal. But in general, it's 10%. With the way the economy is right now, I actually over tip. I tip more than 10%, but if you put it like on the bill, then I'm just annoyed by the whole thing. Like, let me tip what I want. Bad boy, hi. Was it difficult for you to understand Spanish accents of the people in Quito, Cuenca, Loja, Guayaquil, Manta, Ibarra? Cuenca, everyone's singing. It was easy for me. And actually, Guayaquil is a little bit difficult. And then on the coast, I think it's a coastal thing because in Cuba, people also have like a Caribbean unique accent. But in general, I find Ecuadorians have very clear Spanish. The only way I know if someone is from Venezuela, other than if sometimes you can see they're from Venezuela, but sometimes also if I don't understand them, I realize now they're from Venezuela. Am I female? Am I not afraid to travel alone? No. So, Peace and Sea Investments. In 2010, I bought a one-way ticket from Toronto to Mexico, and I traveled. And when I arrived in Mexico, I did not speak any Spanish, and I traveled from Mexico down to Argentina by myself. I think to give like a broad stereotype, the Latino culture, when you are female traveling alone, you are actually safer than if you are a foreigner with a man. So a lot of people looked out for me. I have really beautiful stories of people looking out for me, offering to help me, because everybody wanted to know what I was doing traveling alone. So yeah, I don't worry about it. I mean, don't go and get drunk in a bar, but otherwise, it's okay. I have PNC Investments. I have a family in Quito, and they always discourage me from going to the Mercado. Yeah, I don't know which Mercado you went to. I have a video about Quito where I went there. It depends on where you go. Some people have their thing. They don't want to go to the Mercado, especially in like Guayaquil. I think the city is set up differently, and it's because there's like safety on many different levels. And so I did a video about a Bolon de Verde, a Cafe de Terre, and talked about how it was terrible. but it did provide like a safe environment. And so people who want traditional food go there. In Quito, some of the markets are safer than others. So let's just keep it at that. Who are you, Mary? Who are you using as a guide package to the Amazon? I don't know yet. So I did reach out to a bunch of places in the Amazon to see if they wanted to work together. Because I think there's some interesting places. I'd like to feature a couple of places. So the idea here is the same reason why I'm going back to the Galapagos this time with Intrepid is I don't want to just say, this is the one way you can do it. I do want to say that, there are different options, and depending on what you want, there's an opportunity with different companies. There's just different experiences, different towns in the Amazon. So we'll see how that goes. I do have to go back to my notes tomorrow, and Andreas and I are going to look at what are places that we think would be good. Any place that I work with, I'm 100% honest about it. So they don't review the video other than the Galapagos video because the national park had to review it. But if somewhere was terrible, I would just pay them and walk away. So I've been blogging for so long that I have a pretty good eye on what companies are good, and I get recommendations. And then I've just reached out to people because I want to support local Ecuadorian businesses to help inspire people to come here. Eddie, where have I found the most sunshine? Oh, well, I was on the coast in November and December. And so there was sunshine for part of the day, but not all of the day. I think north of Manta and north of Manta has more sun than south. So if you look at Olón, Montanita, Playas, and Salinas, but it's just different seasons of the year. Kristen and Mark, YouTubers, The Bombs Away, couple from British Columbia, other Canadians. Itchy Feet on the Cheap, Flynn's on the Fly have posted videos about the Galapagos. I didn't know Flynn's on the Fly went to Galapagos. I'm going to have to check that one out. Oh, and Henry says Playas has the most sunshine. I don't know about that, Henry. How hard it would be for someone in a wheelchair to get around. Very difficult. So even in Cuenca, the sidewalks are terrible and some of the streets are terrible. I don't think I could speak to it. There is a site called Curb Free with Corey Lee. I think I would check that out first. Because I think for me, there are things that I wouldn't even notice that would be difficult for someone to have a wheelchair. So I would say, yeah, I would check to see if Corey had come to Ecuador. It's definitely an issue, but I think it would be hard. It's just because in the Andes, so many of the buildings are historic, and then you've got cobblestone. I do know that Andreas has taken some training on working with people who are blind, and Cuenca is actually built for people who are blind. He's explained some of it to me, but I think wheelchairs could be tricky. Not impossible. Nothing's impossible, but could be tricky. Might need some extra planning. Yvonne, looking forward to your videos on Mexico's Pueblo Mágicos. Yeah, Taxo could be in there for sure. I've seen videos on it, and I want to go there. I'm Ecuadorian and would love to do some long-term visits to Mexico. I love Mexico. I've also had really great opportunities there to travel a lot of it, and I love the food there. For me, Mexico and Ecuador are kind of equal. It's just Mexico just happens to be closer to Canada. What's the biggest difference between Mexico and Ecuador? Totally different cultures. I think it's really easy for people to see Latin America as like one culture. So people will say, I actually kind of got into like a YouTube fight with somebody because they commented on a video about someone in Dominican Republic and said, countries in South America aren't safe. Now, first of all, Dominican Republic is not in South America. And then they said, yeah, but Panama. I'm like, Panama is not in South America. And so there are regional differences. There are differences in the culture. Ecuador is very different than Mexico. But if you're only looking at the language is also different. somewhat similar, but still different. There's an accent difference. So it would be like saying, like, what's the difference between like Canada and the UK? It's different. Um, I don't even know where to start. Even the food. I'm trying to think of any dishes that are the same, and I don't know. Learning Spanish, oh, my mom. My mom says learning Spanish is such a smart thing to do. Being unable to communicate can be difficult. It can. It can be difficult. Um, but this is a great opportunity to learn. So I didn't start learning Spanish until I was 32. And I really do believe that just immersing yourself in a language, you will learn faster. If you hang out with people that only speak English, you're not going to learn. You just do it. You just jump in with both feet and you do it. I mean, I've seen lots of people around here that have great Spanish skills. What camera do I recommend? I first shot all my videos on my phone. So I did that for a year. And now, let me just get it. I would say for me, because I travel to a lot of places where I am alone and I could get robbed. So I do think, and then also I want something that's not as conspicuous. So this is a Sony ZV-1. Let me see if I can take this off. Yeah. So this is a Sony ZV-1. And then I bought this lens, which is a wide angle lens. It's called Ulanzi. It's like a Chinese lens that I was able to kind of hack and put on top. But I literally just shoot with this. And I have no intention of getting a different camera. So I do love Sony. I think Sony is at the top in terms of video quality. This one was made for vlogging. It was made for YouTube. I don't take any pictures with it. I take pictures with my phone. But also, if somebody robbed me and I just had to go back to shooting with my phone, that would be totally fine. I think it's much harder to tell a story than it is to take video. Shane and Tanya, a lady on a loan that had mobility issues, they found it very hard. Oh, on the beach? No, you can't move to the coast. Maybe Manta. I haven't been there, but there is a lot of pavement there. But sometimes I hear about people getting like the e-bikes. I just think, oh my God, like how do you drive that on the sand? Eric Dawson, is Ecuador crypto friendly? Eric, I would go to Capture Joseph and talk to him about that. I don't know. He did tell me some cryptocurrency things. I don't understand that. I think like at 44 now, maybe I'm too old. Like I don't get it. But I do think there are a lot of people involved in cryptocurrency here. But again, Capture Joseph, he knows about that. Oh, Don Shader says no wheelchairs. All right, there you go. He would know. And he lives in Manta. Yvonne, I don't understand what you're saying. Okay. Kristen and Mark, Dominican Republic is quite dangerous if you are off resort or not in a tour package offered by the resort. Yeah, like I think the Caribbean, Latin America is different than Central America and is different than South America. And then even within South America, like we're talking like a gigantic continent. And so to generalize would be very, very difficult. Oh my God, guys, I have reached all of the questions. So if you have another question and I haven't answered one of your questions and I missed it, now's your time. Oh, how are options on vegan food? Oh, PNC, I think you got here late. I did talk about vegan food earlier and I have a video coming out in a couple of weeks. E-bikes on the sand. We see it all the time. I don't understand e-bikes on the sand. It seems very strange to me. I think at that point, maybe you just learn, I don't know, maybe you just build up your walking skills. You're on the beach. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? So for everyone who's new, I was saying, I did discover 74% of people who are watching my videos are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. And then also, if you could like this video, that would be great. This was a little bit of a last minute one, but because I'm in Cuenca and I don't know what the next month is going to look like, I did want to kind of do one now that I knew that there would be somewhat decent Wi-Fi. Pet friendly. Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's pet friendly. Oh, Kristen Mark just said, please remind people to subscribe again. Yes, people, please subscribe. Arroz con frijoles are vegan for the most part. Some people do cook them in pork lard, which makes them delicious. So you want to ask if it's vegano. So people do understand that, but don't assume that beans or other dishes like locro is traditionally a vegan soup made with potato. However, a lot of people do put like cheese in it or pork or other things. I had it with tripe. Trice Pilot. I'm a motorcycle guy who used your videos to make sure we talked earlier today. Okay. So you went to the volcano. Oh, and you did go to Baños. So there have been so many roads that I've been on in Ecuador that I thought would be amazing by motorcycle. I would not drive my own motorcycle, but I've been in a car and I thought, wow, this would be great on motorcycle. JF, you're welcome, of course. What is the best major Canadian city to depart from to fly to Quito, Toronto? So I have Vancouver. If you're close to Vancouver, I would fly into Guayaquil. And then if you want to go to the coast first, you could do that, or you could also come to Cuenca, or you could also take an like a national flight to Quito. The last one I took from Quito to Cuenca, I think was $50. So not expensive at all. I will say this though, check it on Expedia versus the airline direct, because on Expedia, I was able to get a free checked bag, and buying direct from the airport, I was not, or the airline, I was not. I don't understand that. And then also, if you really want to go to Quito, I would look at, I think it's Copa that flies through Panama, which is easier than flying through the States, which requires an antigen test within the last 24 hours. Ivan, oh, yeah, por supuesto. Like, I'm so happy to share all of this with you. G from C, yeah, there are earthquakes, so you kind of get used to it. So there haven't been any major earthquakes since I've been here, but there have definitely been some. I'm sitting at this table and everything on it shakes. So a lot of them are coming right now from northern Peru, and we are on the ring of fire. So earthquakes are part of it, but it hasn't been since, I don't know when the earthquake was along the coast that basically decimated Kanoa. Maybe between 2014 and 2016, but that was a big one. When you're in the Andes, you don't have to worry about it as much, and the houses are actually built quite well. Oh, Johnny, thank you so much. I'm glad this was helpful for you. If you have any other questions, let me know. Happy to help you. The vegetarian one will come out in a couple weeks, but believe me, don't worry about being vegetarian, vegan in Cuenca. Shane and Tanya, and don't forget to share. Yes, please. If you know someone who wants to come, please tell them about me. Also, Shane and Tanya in alone. So if you're looking for coastal content, they are great for that. Bill H, no questions. I will try to do another one in a month. Oh, Flynn's on the flyer here. Is it feasible to bike the coast? We haven't spent any time there yet. We love what you do. I would actually ask Shane and Tanya about that. I did not see anyone biking the coast. I don't think. You see a lot of people biking through the Andes. And then today, oh my God, so many bikers. I think this was the Tour de France. It was like a leg of it. There are a lot of bikers here. I don't think I saw any along the coast, but let me ask Andreas about that. I'll follow up with you guys. What's it like riding a bike? Are there a lot of potholes? I would say most of the roads in Ecuador are actually really great, very great. During the Rafael Correa period, he really fixed a lot of the roads. They're so different than they were when I was here in 2013. Ecuador food is the best. Yeah, it is. During our last two visits, we frequented in El Centro Picanteria Milagros on Calle Larga. It was 99% gringo free. Is it still there? Maybe. I feel like, so I just did some drinks videos on Calle Larga. I'm on Hermano Miguel, and Calle Larga is right here. It was 99.2% gringo free. I mean, that's such a big kind of bar and restaurant street. So I don't know. I don't eat on Cayo Larga, but they've got some great places to drink. Well, except for the market. Maria, I'm so glad this was helpful for you, and also G from C. Amy, oh, listen, you got to go to Mindo. You will love it. Yes, Cuenca is a bike city. Tour de France. Yeah, like I think Cuenca is a very modern city. It's a historic city, but very modern. And I think that's why a lot of people like to come here. It's this interesting juxtaposition of wanting to keep the culture and traditions, but also having, I mean, it's the most expensive city in Ecuador, and people here are definitely well off. It's known as the snobbiest city in Ecuador as well. Pedro, happy to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, just let me know. My Instagram, if you need to reach out to me, my Instagram is my first name, Angelina, as well. You can obviously send me a direct message there. And then if you want, I can help connect you with Andreas. All right, guys, I think that is it. We did this in 72 minutes. So I am going to transcribe all of this, and then I am going to put it into Spanish and other language. Todd, oh, Corey Lee has been to Ecuador. Okay, Curb Free with Corey Lee. If you want to know about accessibility here, I think that's a much better reference than what I could do. So next week, I will be going to the Galapagos. However, I do have 2 videos coming up. One is about Inca Pirca, which is the most important Inca ruin in Ecuador, but it's also Cañari. So I do talk a little bit about that because a lot of people don't know about the Cañari people. And so Ecuador is not really like this Inca country. It's actually a country of a lot of different kind of indigenous people. And so I think that will be a great one. And then also, oh, Pedro, thank you so much. You're very kind. And then also the second video, I think, is going to be drinks in Cuenca. So 5 different places to get drinks in Cuenca, and all using unique Ecuadorian spirits. I'm really excited about this. Trying to get this done before I leave on Wednesday. G from C, do you have more information about families with teens moving there? I'm trying to think if I know anybody. I don't know anybody with families here. You might want to check out Yapa Tree. So I believe the owner might have kids, but I think that might be a good resource for you. Yeah, so going to the Galapagos, but I will be posting those. I'm really hoping those are going to be shared. I'm going to try to schedule those up, finish them tonight. And then I'm back the week after, and I'm hoping to tour the Amazon. So, one, if you have questions about the Galapagos, please leave them in the comments below, because when I'm in the Galapagos, I will try to address those in the video. And then the same for the Amazon. I'm going to plan for the Amazon with Andreas tomorrow night. And so if you have specific questions, I'll try to address those in the video as well. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your Sunday with me. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and tell others to as well. And I hope you have a great night. Bye.